we'll get going then with the presentation. If you guys want to come up, the topic today is on, Edmonton multiplexes. There's lots of conversation on Edmonton, which I guess for good reason, but I'm also struggling why there's not a lot of conversation on Calgary. So I'm from Calgary, I lived there for several years, and I've built multiplexes there. So maybe the panel has advice on that as well. I think the lots in Calgary maybe are a bit more expensive. Maybe it was overbuilt because they had this rezoning earlier than Edmonton. So maybe that could be why. But yeah, you guys have probably heard there's so much talk about Edmonton multiplexes. So we thought it'd be great to have some experts here to talk about that and share some knowledge. So I'll give the mic to Huong first, and then we'll go from there.
Hi everybody. So my name's Huong. I'm really happy to be able to share the stage with Tommy and Mark. So this slide is my particular project that I'm doing in Edmonton. And if you scan that code, you can actually download or get access to the YouTube video that I did on this presentation, specifically on my 8plex that I did in the AREA meeting last May. So there's lots of information there. And in that particular presentation, I actually break down all of the numbers and the challenges that I was facing while going through my 8plex. So on this slide, I just presented a couple of detailed information. And if there's any questions that come up that you have, I'm more than happy to share it. I'm pretty much an open book. So my building is still in progress. So the middle picture was from March, and we're expecting to finish at the end of June. And when it's done, it's gonna look like that one at the bottom.
For that project, are you the builder, or are you contracting a builder to build out?
So I own the land, and I hired a builder to build for me. I live here in Vancouver, and I have boots on the ground that go and visit the place and coordinate. I communicate with the builder every 2 weeks. So I've given myself that builder title, but I don't really consider myself a builder because I'm not doing anything. Like, I'm just waiting now for the keys in June to rent out to potential tenants.
May I know, what kind of contract did you sign with the builder?
What type of contract? Like, are you talking about like time and material or lump sum?
What were the conditions on the contract?
Can you be more specific?
Conditions on the contract, as in will you pay the deposit down at the beginning or at the end or after the walkthrough
Okay, so the contract that I got with the builder was like 50 pages, fine print, right? So every single detail imaginable was in there. And yeah, it's very detailed, and it breaks down how you pay them, when you pay them, the invoicing, any penalties, any delays, any price creep, any scope change, anything like that. It's pretty standard, right? So part of my due diligence on hiring them was I interviewed over 30 different builders before I settled on these guys. They sent me a quote, their initial drawing samples, a whole package so that I could go through it line by line. And the company that I use, their name is Frankenholmes, and I've been really, really happy with them. They have an online portal that I can log in and check all the pictures, all of these photos are from them. And they have every single report. The contract itself, once you sign it, it's a legal binding document, you can't back out. And in there it talks about their payment milestones. And I tried to get them to update that to match up with the CMHC payment milestones, and they were pretty flexible with that. Right.
So question here, what is it about this lot? What's the context of this lot that makes you decide that this is a good place to build a place?
So I already had the land before the 8plex or the densification rules came in.
Okay.
So that White House, I actually lived in there for a bit. And the original plan was to move to Edmonton, and because Edmonton property was so cheap, I was from Toronto, I was basically like, I'm gonna go and dominate Edmonton, just buy up everything and just become like the mayor of Edmonton. So I bought this lot thinking I could do that, and the plan was to put but too skinny. So basically 2 houses with basement suites in it.
Okay.
It didn't make sense back in 2018, 2019 to build 2 skinnies. So I actually sold that piece of land to somebody under a BTB, and then I bought it back from them when they defaulted on the mortgage that I held for them.
Okay.
So because I already had the land, I tried to sell it because I wasn't bullish on the Edmonton market or the idea of duplexes. So I wanted to get rid of this as much as possible. Nobody was willing to give me the price I wanted for the land.
Mm-hmm.
So it was either sit on it and let it go into negative cash flow or build. And so I chose to build.
I see. And like that surrounding neighborhood, what kind of like,
Market.
what's the market demographic
So
is
it's
like?
sort of on the east side of Edmonton. I think it's a decent area, like a B neighborhood. Some people who live in Edmonton are saying it's a C neighborhood. So it, depending on who you talk to. Because I lived there, I got a sense of what the neighborhood was like, and the people there were more family oriented, more blue collar. It was pretty safe. It was a lot of single family homes, and then the main streets had apartment buildings on it. But this particular property was actually located close to what they call the triangle, and that's why some people say it's not a really nice area, because it's walking distance or biking distance to the triangle in Edmonton. So I'm not from Edmonton, so I didn't know any of that going in, and my agent never told me. And I bought it sight unseen.
Mm-hmm. So what would be, if you have to do it all over again? Obviously it looks amazing. It's likely to have really good ROI. But if you were to do it again, what would you do? Would you do anything differently?
The one thing I wouldn't do is push for the MLI as hard as I did.
Oh.
I would still build because the opportunity presented itself as things progressed. But my first option was to sell, and if I had gotten a reasonable offer on the land, I would have sold. I did try to sell it after I got the permitting, but then by that point, I was too far in with the financing and too far in with the project to be able to find something to sell it to.
I see.
Okay, so thanks, Bob.
Just gonna stand on the side so you guys can see.
Okay, so Tommy.
So, hi, my name is Tommy. So, I'm an engineer by trade with 20 years experience with an MBA. So, that's my family right there. So, 3 kids, young, 3, 6, 9. The reason why I get into the real estate is because is to build a stable generation wealth for my families, and also to help other people that can also have the choice to get to the financial freedom if they want to. So they don't have to choose between paycheck over the family, which my father did. So he chose the paycheck because he was an engineer, but then we moved from Hong Kong to Canada, and he doesn't have the license in engineering, so he has to move back to Hong Kong to work to support our family when I was small. So he chose the paycheck over us. So I want to make sure that my next generation, they were able to, or any other people, that they were able to choose their family over the paycheck. And real estate is one of the vehicles that will help you to get to your financial freedom. So that's my why. And my given back is to help other people that if they want to do the same thing, we're going to guide them along the way, or even invest along us to our journey. So my portfolio has about 125 units across the multi-family, residential, and industrial real estate, along with 2 operating business in Edmonton, mostly in Edmonton and Calgary. So I do have something in Calgary. So today we're going to talk about all the technical risks, CMHC, and the info complexity along the journey. So next. So that's our first build. in Westmont, Edmonton. So you can see on the top left is the before. There's a survey date. We bought it in December. And on the lower left is when my family was there in October last year. And on the right, that's where that's how the 8 flats is what they look like when it's done. And coincidentally, me and Huong, they were using the same builders, and that's because he's really one of the best builder in town. So we expected to be finishing around July, August this year, and this is the second properties that we're also building right now. So we bought this in January 2025, and so they're about a month apart. But then we are catching up on this build, so they will be finishing about the same time as the first one.
Okay, last panelist, Marc. Yeah.
My name is Marc. I'm from Vancouver and I invest in Edmonton. I guess my background is forestry, and I wanted to quit forestry or have a way to retire because we don't have a pension in what I did. So I created my own pension by buying real estate. I started in Vancouver, then went to Whistler, Port Alberta, Montreal, and now Edmonton. And you were asking why Calgary, not in Edmonton, yes. And Calgary crossed my mind, but Edmonton is, they have a super good real estate investment club called Area. And I didn't know much about Alberta, so I went to Area, and that's where I'm at home actually. And then Tommy and everybody, a lot of you in this room actually. That's basically why. It was just a really easy way to create a network right away through that area building, area investment meetings. And what went wrong? A lot of things went wrong, but I'm still alive, and the project's still going ahead. So I bought a piece of land near. I guess the old house is not there, but it looks just like yours and yours and the one on the right. This is one we don't really want to live in, and we. So in my case, a lot of delays because I bought in 2023, and some of these delays were voluntary. So in 2023, I bought in June, and then the house was livable, so we found a tenant. I took possession in July. The tenant moved in, and then we're like, well, we're in no rush because we're cash flow neutral, or roughly, if the house doesn't fall down, we're okay. And we so we kept that tenant there, and in 2023 they were in Edmonton. That's when they were going to change the ruling. So before that, if you wanted to build an 8-plex, you had to go through a rezoning process, which was time-consuming and expensive. So what we ended up doing is waiting, and on sometime in October, they said the process was going to get approved, and pretty much my timeline could be a little off, but I think January 1st, 2024, then you were good. Yeah. So you were good to save rezoning your property, which is a big cost. And then we went through the whole process of going through MLI Select and getting our certificate of insurance. And things were going really well. We got a really good mortgage broker, fantastic mortgage broker. I didn't mind with a partner because I didn't know much about Edmonton. I was scared to invest in the wrong area, or I was scared that's just too many unknowns, so I didn't want to pay for my mistakes. So I built this with a partner, and he's 60-40 partners. I'm kind of more the money guy, and he's the knowledge guy. He's got like 10 properties now, 10 8-plexes, so he's highly specialized in that domain, and really nice fellow. done yet, but the places we got our permit to occupy, so we're actually looking for people a couple of weeks ago, and we started marketing really hard just a couple of days ago. So we're trying to fill it, and we got our building financing, which I thought was pretty good. It's prime plus 0.6, I believe. Is that roughly what you get?
Prime plus 1.5.
Okay.
A lot more.
Yeah. But see, that's where the MLI can be really good. So it is a difficult process, and there's a lot of drawbacks. But basically, when I started, I knew nothing. I thought that MLI gave you the loan. That's not how it works. MLI is basically CMHC tells the bank that they're going to guarantee your loan is going to go through. So let's say something happens and goes sideways with my project, the government tells the bank that they're going to make the payments. But in exchange, you have to do a few things for them. One of them is give them money. The other one is they need personal guarantees on absolutely everything you own, and my partner too, and his wife, and yeah. So it's and the other thing is when you enter this is you have to give 20% of your units. They have to be affordable units. And there is a cap. So I'm not allowed to rent 2 of my units for more than, you remember the cap? 1650. Yeah. And that changes through time, and MLI's been changing like crazy. And why Edmonton also is because over there they have a lot of people earn a lot of money, so that cap is really high. So if you wanted to do MLI in Vancouver, you'd have to qualify through other methods, because $1,300 a month is basically less than my parking stall. But if you wanted to do it here, you could do it with people qualify with environmental. So if you have solar panels and all kind of stuff, you get points, and if you get a certain amount of points, then you're able to qualify for MLI.
So thank you, first of all, the 3 of you. It's been great knowledge, and it's good to have 3 people in our network here that are investing in Edmonton, right? It's quite rare, so it shows the value of investing in Edmonton. So, like I said, we have suggested questions that I'll just leave up there. Maybe what we'll do is open it up. If anyone has their own questions first, we can address those, and then yeah, we can talk about these other questions here as well. So.
Did all 3 of you have a mortgage on the land before you went in a contract with the builder, or did you own the property outright?
Well, in my case, I bought the property outright. And my partner kind of knew the area really well, so we chose that site because you're recommended to have a 50 by 150 to do this type of development. And my area was close to West Edmonton Mall, and they're building an LRT. So we're right by the LRT, which is like the SkyTrain here. You want to be close, but not too close. Too close, you get crime, but you want to have the convenience, but not the riffraff.
And how much did you pay for your land?
Oh, we bought it from a wholesaler, and the price was $250, but then I had to, with the house that we rented for $1,700 a month. So yeah.
What's the lot size? 50?
50 by 160. Yes. If I jump to what went wrong, is I thought, okay, this is just too good to be true, I want 10. And then I thought I'm just gonna wait because the market was flat for really, really long. And I thought, I'll just wait till I see a heartbeat, and then I'm gonna load up on it. And then the heartbeat was 250, and 3 months later, 350. Wow. So that's a big, if I had done 10.
The one that Trent mentioned
thinks it appraises at 450.
Oh.
I think that's what.
Yeah, yeah.
At the end of the project, oh sorry.
Wait. To his question, did you buy it outright?
So that is actually one of the things that we went wrong. So our original plan is to finance the land so that we can only put 20% down or 30%. However, because the structure that we use is a GPLP structure, is not a corporation. And unfortunately, the power team that we use, the lawyer and the broker, they are not really familiar with the GPLP structure. So we have a lot of issues when we do it the mortgage or for the lenders. And the first bad news that we got was like a week before we were closing. They said, "Oh, we cannot fund you the money for the down payments or not the closing." And you have to push it like a month because it was in the December time. So the lenders are closed for the Christmas. So he said that, "Oh, we cannot now fund you until January 15-ish." So and now closing was December 15. So I was like, wow, that's an issue. And so at the end we will have to pivot and using our own money, investment monies to buy outright with cash, and that's why. And with that experience on our setup not to be bought, we bought it with cash. It's so much easier. Because there's a lot of paperwork involved when you do it with the B lenders. With A lenders, they don't want you to tear down the buildings. If you have a mortgage with them, otherwise you will have to run through a lot of loops, and that's why you will have to do it with either the private lenders or the B lenders. But the trade-off is there will be a lot of rules, paperwork that the A lenders.
Thank you.
And I bought my land outright.
And were you able to pull out the money, like the initial investment from the property at the end of the project?
So my project's not finished yet.
Okay.
So I haven't been able to pull out all of the cash. The land was, so I put in originally 200 for the land. When I rebought it back, I got it for 270, so I made a 70K lift on the land, and that's what I put in for the financing. And when I got my first draw, which took forever to do, I actually got all of that money back already from my first draw, and I'm still not finished. So when I'm done, I should have only, out of pocket, it would only be about 150K that I have left in.
What are you in for now?
Nothing now.
You're at zero.
Like, well, at the end, yeah. At the end, when they balance everything out, I'll have 150.
So yes, the first advance, our timeline is a bit different. So we're using the CMHC MIC match, 95% LTV with 50 years amortization. So we started our application in April 2025. But then the lender at that time, there was a lot of people saying that not a lot of lenders want to lend to people with only sub 2.5 million projects. So we have a bit of the issues, I would say, that we have to find the lenders. So our application didn't really submit until June or July, and then at that time there was a big news that just threw it at us. There was like CMHC decided to change their premium to double their cost on the premium. So the difference in cost for the premium is about 75K each project. So since I have 2 projects on hand, that's 150K if we miss that line to the application. So luckily is our broker is able to fast forward, expedite the application in a week, so that we get both of our CMHC submission in before the deadline. So that really saved us 150K there. So that was in July 2025. So we didn't get our, because there were so many people doing it all at the same time because of that rule change. So there was a backlog, that's a huge backlog. Usually the CEOs get this COI in 2 to 3 months. So ours, we didn't get ours until end of November. So that's where we get the COI, but that's not the end of it. Once you get the COI, you still have to wait for the lenders. Our lender is CBRE. So they didn't give us the commitment letters until, I think it's end of February. So from November to February. And then we didn't get our funding until just 2 weeks ago, April. So it was a long journey to get our first advance. So imagine, and we started our project in July. So imagine, in between July to April, we don't have any money from the CMHC. So we have to use bridge financing. And we're talking about like close to $3 million right there.
Okay, yeah.
2 parts. So is there a concern about the market becoming saturated with a number of these coming to rent? And then second part, are you guys doing anything unique to your builds to either attract new tenants or retain current ones that you think would be setting you apart from everyone else?
So I'm not going to sugarcoat. So basically, yes, we see that the market is saturated. Well, it's a bit saturated right now, and that's why you will see that less people are doing it in Calgary now, and that's because they are a year ahead of us for that rule change. So there's a lot of appeal in Calgary, and then now they're moving into the Edmonton as well. So and also because of the immigration rule change for Canada, so now there's less people moving to Canada. So we see the market is softened a bit for the last, I'll say half a year. So yes, it is a bit soft, but I would not say that. I don't think it will last long at this level, maybe a year. So it could pick up, I would think. The second part of the question is how.
Before you go to that, let me answer that. So I've got a different perspective to Tommy on that. I don't think the 8-plex market will be saturated in Edmonton, particularly, partly because getting the MLI is really difficult. And so a lot of people who got into the MLI on the 8-plex, newcomers, not newcomers to Canada, but just new investors getting in, they're not going to be able to do it, partly because CMHC MLI isn't funding people with just 5% anymore, like it's 7 to 10%. They also need to do the personal guarantee. Like there's a lot more stringencies now with getting the MLI, along with the mechanical room, like some of the design has changed since we got in, right? And so now it's even harder to get the MLI. And also because with the MLI, a lot of the projects are under $3 million, it's very difficult to get funded with the MLI. So I don't think the 8-plex market will get so super saturated, because also too, the neighborhoods now are pushing back, saying we don't want those 8-plexes. And they want parking requirements. They want more family orientated rather than just 8-plexes with people biking in the middle of winter.
Yeah, in my case, for the what we have a little bit unique is mine is actually a big 6-plex and a 4-car garage with 2 units on top of the garage, and those are fairly rare, and I think they have a better. Well, we'll see. Time will tell because it's not rented yet, but from my understanding, they'll have a better desirability. Yeah. I didn't really want to have basement suites. Like I'm at the age now, I don't really want to deal with a tenant that, I prefer dealing with tenants that have more money. Usually, the more money your tenant has, the less headaches you have. Not always, but usually yes. So that was that's why I haven't done a second one. I'm kind of waiting to see what kind of tenant profile, what kind of turnover I'm going to get in my basement units. Yeah.
So since I'm not in Edmonton, so have you heard about it?
My partner is gonna do the managing.
Okay.
He's gonna charge a fee, but it's reasonable. It's actually, we were exploring a third party, but it was really deplorable what kind of quality of property managers were there. And it was also the fees, like some people give you a really nice fee up front, but then they're gonna, there's a lot of upcharges for everything. So I found it extremely underwhelming, and so did Brian. So I basically begged. Well, I was ready to beg for him to do it, and then he's like, Mark, I think we gotta do this on our own. So he's gonna do it.
Is he hired? Can I use him?
No, we're only doing in-house because he's super busy, so he wants to.
So all of you are based in BC, but you are managing project in Alberta. What's kind of like the difficulty you imagine would be, and what the difficulty actually turned out to be?
So I've got properties in Toronto, Saskatchewan, Alberta, and Courtney, and I manage the ones in Toronto on my own. And so being a satellite landlord is actually not that hard. So I'm planning to manage the Edmonton ones and just have my boots on the ground to do certain things for me. It's only 8 units, so it's not, I don't think it's gonna be a big deal, right? And once you learn how to screen tenants and the rules, it should be managed.
Well, I think it's fairly easy. Also, I was working in the forest, so I'd be gone for 6 months out of the time. So Huong and I talked a lot about managing, and we have a similar philosophy. So what I did is I picked a manager, and then that manager would help me pick tenants. And then once I trusted him, he did it. So it's not a management company. So I think you do the same. I picked a tenant I really like, and that's responsible. And I use that tenant, and I'm like, hey, do you want to pick your own neighbors? And they're usually, if they're proactive, they'll say yes. And then they're really vested. And if you live on that property, it's really easy. Like, you don't have to drive to the other end of town. Because when you look for tenants, they say, I'll be there at 10. And then by 12, you're like, should I go home? Yeah, go ahead.
So 2 parts. Now you guys have done this a couple times and you kind of know the Edmonton market. So if somebody new, brand new, is going to go there, 2 things. What kind of area would you guys? What are the things that you would be looking for in an area to invest in, and why? And how much capital do you, at this point now, when things have gone up, how much capital do you actually need to start out with?
A lot of people think because you have like the MLI will give you 95% loan to cost, and a lot of people think LTV, loan to value, which is wrong. So loan to cost is usually it's your construction cost, and that does not include your land. So I've met a lot of people that thought, all I need is, I want a $2 million building, all I need is $100,000. Well, that's not the case. Like, all 3 of us were, like, at the peak, I was $400,000 out of pocket. And I'll let that'll be interesting.
So my first draw, I started the foundation went in May of 2025. I didn't get my first draw until December 22nd, 2025. So even though I had the land already purchased, I was fronting up everything to the builder to keep it going. So I was about 800,000 in before I saw anything.
That's far from 100.
Yeah. So luckily, I had an investor that was able to bridge my loans for me so that I could keep going. And also because I started doing an alternative investment stream that helped me fund some cash flow as well.
Yeah.
the broker that I went with was CBRE, and it was they were the broker and also the lender. And I originally chose them thinking it would be easier to get everything funded and everything would be streamlined. It wasn't any faster or easier.
I think that's about the same thing.
Yeah. So I got my COI in August of 2025, and I didn't get funded till December. Which is ridiculous in my mind. So I would say make sure you have really deep pockets or access to cash to keep the project going. Because you don't want your builder to be delayed or for them to stop work.
What is the reason for the delay, a 3 or 4 month delay for both your projects to the committal letter?
So in my case, there was 2 main issues. One is that apparently they had my name spelled incorrectly in their system. Okay. Yeah, I don't believe that either. The other reason that they told me was they were switching over their investor base, and so even though they had approved me in their system, they didn't have the capital investors to come in to fund my loan. And so every 2 weeks I was talking to them, and it was, yeah, Huong, it's coming in a week. Yeah, Huong, it's coming in a week, and it just kept being delayed and delayed. And the only reason why they funded me in December was I said to them, I'm traveling for the next 2 months. If you don't fund me by December, I'm going elsewhere.
So for us, as I mentioned, because we submit the application during the rush that people all now putting all the application in, so we have a really backlog. So that delayed the approval of the COI, and then and then also because of the Christmas break, so there wasn't about 3 weeks, nobody was working, so that also delayed it a bit. And then once they get these commitment letters or the COI, the lender actually, they said they will have to get the approval from their external lenders, investor. So that took at least 1 to 2 months later. So that's also delayed the funding. So at the end, we were expecting we should be getting the funding in about October-ish, but then we didn't get it the first funding until April. So that's like a 6-month delay.
Exactly. COI, when did you get that again?
The COI,
The
the
COI.
certificate of insurance.
Or when did you get it?
Which
When?
Yeah, the COI.
The November. We got the November in the COI, but then the commitment didn't come in until February, and funding in April.
Thank you.
Mine was really easy. I got it I think in, it took 3 weeks basically. All the money came in, and the reason I was in for 100 grand is because I have a really weird structure in my partnership, and well, it's not weird. It's 3 corporations, so we have a managing corporation, which is taxed at a really good advantage, which is Freedom Vest, which is Brian's company. Then we have the real estate company that owns the building, and then I have a numbered company that holds the share in this. So you kind of get removed, but really after all the papers you sign, I don't see the point, because if you don't pay the mortgage, you're done. Yeah. And the reason I put more money up front is I didn't want to have any trouble, so I paid a lot of cash, and then I'm charging interest to basically it's called Legacy at Glenwood. So Legacy at Glenwood, I'm basically the bank for my own project, so it's gonna owe me the interest. That's how we structured it. But I could probably have, in theory, I could probably have taken a mortgage out for this and only be $200,000-300,000 in out of pocket, but it was more advantageous, I thought, to do it that way.
One question I have is that it sounds like that process is very complicated. So do you say that it's a strategy that's suitable for first-time investor, or should it be someone who has accumulated some type of real estate investment experience before pursuing this strategy?
I think if you're first time, you should, like I took a partner, so it was really easy. Like in theory, I don't bring that much to the table. So it's like, well, I mean, without me, it wouldn't have happened because he's leveraged like everywhere.
Yeah.
So if you do like I did, then you don't need the knowledge. But if you do like these guys, you need the knowledge for these guys.
So, agree with you. So if you are the first time real estate investor, I would think that will be a bit of a knowledge and experience to manage this size of the projects. For me, as I said, I managed the multifamilies before, so I have a bit of the experience too. And also, the key is to get a good mentor. So if you have someone who's already watched the work with before, so you will learn a lot and skip a lot of the mistakes along the way. So that was really helpful. So once you get the first one in, the first project, I would say the second, the third, the fourth one will be super easy, right? Basically, I would say it's almost like a cookie cutter. So you copy paste the model, and that's what we were trying to do on the second project is to copy the first model. However, so we have a little bit of the issues for the second project is because I'm not sure if you can see right there, the one I circled in the red. So we have a power pole right there on the lot. So we know that if there's a power pole, it will be an issue. So we double confirmed it with the builders, and he also mentioned that's not far away from the building, so that's not an issue. But turn out that the issue is not coming from the power pole. It is coming from the power line above it, because our building is so close to it. The city is saying, well, you have to move it back by this 1 more meters away. So that changed our layout, the building significantly. So now it's only more skinnier and long to make up the square footage. So now it's not really a cookie cutter anymore.
Have you guys advertised now? Are you getting people interested for it?
We'll be advertising as soon as we get to the interior is a bit more finished, so that we can put more pictures, more rendering, so that we can post.
To answer your question about for first timers, one of the things that I do is I do help first time multi-unit buyers either loan sponsor or be on paper to help them qualify. Because in order to qualify for those bigger loans, you do need to personally guarantee, and then you also need the experience on paper to help qualify for it too. Okay, so I do offer that service as well.
Are you talking about MLI Select, or are you talking about just loan in general?
Everything.
Oh, okay.
So if you get that QR code, you'll see a lot of the numbers that I presented on my particular project and some of the challenges that I had on that project.
Would you still loan sponsor?
I would still loan sponsor, yes.
Earlier, why did you say that you regretted applying for the MLI?
So the reason why I regret going with the MLI is because there's a quantity surveyor fee that you won't have to pay if you just went traditional. So luckily for me, because it took so many months, I was able to save about $30,000 on that quantity surveyor. That was a cost that I didn't really expect. The challenge going forward for me is all of the paperwork and the rules with CMHC. I'm not the type of person that likes rules and all the paperwork. And so for me, that's very tedious.
How did you manage the rule change that happened about the mechanical room that you mentioned?
So luckily for me, that was at the time that we've already gotten approved. And so we just went back to our builder and said, we need these drawings done because of this issue. And they were able to do it really, really fast. But it got to the point where CMHC actually said, if you don't do this, we're not approving you. And at that point, if they didn't approve me, I would have been in a worse situation. So luckily, my builders actually came up with a really creative idea within a couple of hours, and we submitted it, and it was fine. So it wasn't an issue at all. But that is going to be an issue for the people who pre-built at that time. So now if you look on Realtor, there's a lot of people selling 8plexes that don't qualify for MLI because of that mechanical room issue.
So you said you won't do the CMHC anymore, even though for takeout?
Yeah. Oh no, so I have to do it for the takeout. So I've already signed the paperwork for the takeout, but if I was to do another 8plex build in Edmonton, I wouldn't necessarily go down the MLI route. I would go down that path because it's a great way to just leverage, but I would make sure that it pencils and I have enough cash to do the 25 down on my own without going the MLI. Because I have my first place, just recycling all the documents. So my lawyers got 50 plus conditions in order to close my loan. So once we got one done, it doesn't matter, like the document's already done, so you just recycle that. Right, so because I've already done one, it doesn't matter.
So in terms of equity partners, I know usually what an equity partner looks at you, looks out for you, but what do you look for in an equity partner? Like it's in terms of personality and expectations, and how do you manage their expectations?
So that's a really good question. For equity partners, remember, if you're doing the CMHC select, you basically will be tied into the project for at least 10 years. And for us, we want to hold it for at least 15, 20 or even more longer. So for us, to choose the equity partners, we want to make sure that the partners will have the same goal, align with you. So they don't want to just say, oh, I want to exit in year 2 or year 3 or when they finish. Because if it does, it will actually really be a headache for you because now you have to change all your structure with the CMHC, and I don't think this can change that easily. It's not easy to change it. So for our case, like the first is the personality. Does they work along with you? Are they easy going? Not easy going, but at least I would say that. They don't want. If they want to be for the long term, they want to exit early, as well as they qualify for accredited investor because of with the GPLP structure, it is crucial that the investor is accredited investor. Otherwise, you just asking controls from the security.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm the equity partner in that deal, but yeah.
What do you look for the working partners?
Yeah, in a working partner, actually, I look for someone with integrity and someone that I could trust. And I really like Brian. He's it's interesting. He's a little bit nerdy, and he's. When I first met him was online, and he on a Zoom call with other friends, and I could see one thing he does is he plants 10 trees per month for every unit. So in our 8plex we have 8 units, so that's going to be 80 trees a month. So that's 1,200. My math is going wrong, but. Over 1,000 trees a year, and I could see him. He really has that at heart, and I could see his gears grinding, and he's counting trees. What is he doing? So me coming from a forestry background, I really liked. I like not necessarily planting trees, but I liked that he wanted to give back, and it was not all about him. And it was about making things work. So my philosophy's always been win-win. So I want to, no matter who I invest with, I want to make my money bring my resources bring something to everybody. I could do probably okay if I just did buy S&P shares, but it kind of bugs me to somewhere that money buys bombs. So I prefer to bid houses.
I'll just add to that about the equity partners. So on my Edmonton deal, I didn't actually have equity partners on there because when I ran the numbers, I wasn't confident that I would be able to return the investors' money back at refinancing. And so I didn't want to bring in people without being able to secure their funding, or at least say, okay, by the time we lease up, you would get X amount back. And by the time we refinance in 5 years, you would get your capital back. So I wasn't comfortable taking investor money for that. But usually when I partner up with people, like on the Courtney deal that I did, it's a 40-unit building. The people that I brought in on that, I offer in exchange for them, like because they're silent partners, I actually give them that option to be completely silent, but I also give them the option saying, if you want me to coach you so that you can expand your real estate knowledge, I'm happy to do that as well. So with a lot of the people that I work with, I give them that option to be completely silent and learn with me coaching them. On that note, thank you for being here. On your way up, please pick up a book. Mark, Tommy, and I are all in this book, and we will sign it if you like. It's a complimentary copy for you to take back. It's a compilation of 13 different investors that will give you some ideas on how to get into real estate or some other investment types. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, guys.